evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Beacon Board of Education. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Eric, you beat me too. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have roll call, please.
Larry Cohen.
Here.
Betsy Dennis.
Here.
Jennifer Edge.
Absent.
Tracy Alec Everett. Here. Christine Galbo.
Here.
Frank Garnett.
Here.
Georgia Patchen. Here. Bill Zob.
Here.
Melissa Thompson.
Here. Dr. Dora, would you review the fire exits?
Yes, there's 2 fire exits located at the rear of the LGI.
Okay. Would everyone please stand for a moment of silence for Bruce A. Hawks, retired custodian for the Beacon City School District. Thank you. Dr. Dora, would you like to introduce our workshop tonight?
Yes, I'll start off by introducing Ms. Karen Pagano, who's our Director of Food Service, and she's going to introduce the rest of the presenters for the workshop.
Good evening, one and all. Again, my name is Karen Pagano. I'm the Food Service Director here at Beacon City Schools, and I've been here now for just over a year. I'm here tonight to highlight a few programs that we have brought to the Beacon Schools as a collaborative with several organizations. We have a slide presentation which is on your board documents. You could probably open up that first presentation and follow along with the descriptions as our presenters will be following along on their own. And this is the Farm to School Collaborative for your board documents. This presentation will better express the dynamic programs that are in place and developing for our school children. I was approached by the Beacon Farm to School Collaborative last year, shortly after I started in this position, hoping to bring a Farm to School project to Beacon City Schools. I have embraced this concept in the current school year in coordination with them. We are in hopes of expanding projects more in future years. Funding for these projects at the moment is grant and donation based. The first presenter is Sandy McKelvey, and she's the Executive Director of the Hudson Valley Farm to School. Wave at us, Sandy. She and her family moved to the Hudson Valley from New York City 5 years ago and was immediately taken with the land and abundance of local foods and small family farms in the area. She founded Hudson Valley Farm to School with a mission to bring the fresh local produce into the schools and give the children opportunity to connect with the local farms and learn where their food comes from. Sandy has been working in Putnam County over the last 4 years, coordinating the Farm to School programs at Haldane Elementary School and the Garrison Free School. Last year, she joined Common Ground Farm and the Hudson Valley Seed, forming the Beacon Farm to School Collaborative. Our next presenter is Ava Bynum. It was Ava. She's the Executive Director for the Hudson Valley Seed, which is a Beacon-based nonprofit working to establish educational gardens with curriculum-integrated lessons in public schools. A Hudson Valley native, she has worked as an educator with organizations like Clearwater and with the Garden Road School in Peekskill. She is dedicated to bringing the issues of health and education together and working to find united solutions. Our third collaborative presenter is Sember Wyman. And Sember has been the education director at Common Ground Farm for the past 2 years. She currently manages all programs, including adult workshops, school group visits, and summer camp, and teaches many programs, including the popular Preschool on the Farm series. Prior to this position, she was the education coordinator at Lehman College Art Gallery for 6 years, running a variety of art education programs to public schools in the Bronx. She has spent time as a teacher in New York City public schools and is certified as a K-12 art teacher. Sandy, Sember, and Ava have this slide presentation to highlight the work done to date in our school district.
Thank you for inviting us today.
I hope you'll be able to follow along on your computers. If you have any questions about where we are, if we're not at the same place that you are, just feel free to raise your hand, or we'll try to sync up. Okay. And for those of you that don't see, we hope we'll be colorful enough in our explanations so you know what we're talking about. The Beacon Farm to School Collaborative is a partnership of 3 local nonprofits: Hudson Valley Seed, Hudson Valley Farm to School, and Common Ground Farm. Our program is designed to get kids excited about fresh, local vegetables and eating real, wholesome foods. We'd like to show you this presentation on how hands-on experiential learning on the farm, in the garden, and in the classroom is changing kids' attitudes and behavior towards eating fresh vegetables and helping them make healthier choices. First, a little background. Farm to School is a national program that connects schools, pre-K through 12, and local farms with the objectives of serving healthy meals in school cafeterias, improving student nutrition, providing agriculture, health, and nutrition education opportunities, and supporting local and regional farmers. Farm to School programs include local farm produce on the menu in school cafeterias, school gardens with garden-based learning that supports the Common Core, seasonal farm visits, farmer in the classroom agricultural education, chef in the classroom cooking programs with nutrition education, taste tests of local produce from school gardens and local farms, and community involvement like harvest fests, potlucks, etc. So why Farm to School? The Farm to School movement started over a decade ago as a response to the dramatic increase in childhood obesity in the United States, which is due to a large degree to the increase in cheap processed foods available and marketed to children. According to the Federal Trade Commission, the fast food industry spends more than $5 million every day marketing unhealthy foods to children. Kids are disconnected from their food source. The unfortunate reality that in this world of easy-to-serve prepackaged food, most kids don't know where their food comes from and how it gets to their plates. Food insecurity. Many kids don't have adequate access to fresh fruits and vegetables. Farm to School programs provide locally grown produce to children who would otherwise not have access to it. Locally grown fruits and vegetables are fresher and more nutritious than the average produce that travels 1,500 miles before reaching its final destination. And lastly, supporting local farms helps our local economy and reduces the ecological footprint of our food systems. Teaching children the importance of eating food that did not travel across the globe has learning implications in economics and geography. It is also empowering to children to know that the food choices that they make can help to create change. More than 32 million children participate in the National School Lunch Program, and more than 12 million participate in the School Breakfast Program. Many of these children consume at least half of their meals at school, and for some, food served at school may be the only food that they regularly eat. To address this public health crisis, the USDA made sweeping changes to the National School Lunch Program. Many school districts overhauled their menus with the goal, of course, to see kids eating more fruits and vegetables and making healthier choices. Unfortunately, things didn't always go as planned. There have been stories you may have heard in the national news of kids boycotting the lunchroom, complaining of being hungry, and food service personnel upset about the reduction in participation after the new regulations were put in place. Simply adding more fruits and vegetables to school lunch programs without prior exposure often fails to get kids to try the new offerings. The saying, "if you build it, they will come," doesn't usually work when trying to change kids' behaviors. But if they built it, that's another story. And this is where Farm to School comes in. The Beacon Farm to School Collaborative received funding from a United Way grant to start a full-year Farm to School program in one Beacon elementary school. We are piloting our program at JV Forrestal. Starting in last September, every month, 1 or 2 classes at Forrestal have a series of Farm to School activities that highlight one locally grown fresh vegetable. The program includes monthly farmer in the classroom visits, school garden visits, a chef in the classroom cooking program, and district-wide taste tests in the 4 elementary schools and the middle school cafeterias. Common Ground Farm also conducts 2 farm visits each school year. By the end of the year, every K-5 classroom at Forrestal will have gone through this program, and 10 locally grown vegetable dishes will have been served in the cafeteria for all students to try in the district-wide taste tests. Now we'll take you through all the components of the program, and we'll start with Sember Weinman from Common Ground Farm.
Thank you. So, Farmer in the Classroom begins with the farm. Common Ground Farm, if you don't know us, we're a local community organization. We're a nonprofit farm project that grows food for education and food justice programs. We serve our community as an educational model for people of all ages to learn how foods grow, how to raise ecologically sound crops without chemical fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides, and how to keep farmland healthy for generations to come. For this program, each month, one of Common Ground farmers visits a different classroom at JV Forrestal as part of our program. She shares her experiences as a farmer, teaches students all about the vegetable of the month, and works with the children to complete a hands-on activity. The farmer also presents a vegetable fun fact each month, which all the children are able to take home in their backpacks. They give a wide variety of information about each vegetable, so nutritional information, historical information, interesting things that the farmer presents, along with some kind of a variety of activities that really engage the students. When Farmer Ellie did winter squash last month, they actually did a play. They reenacted the life of a squash. A visit to Common Ground Farm may include a visit with the barn animals, a project with the farmers, like helping to harvest the fields or sow seeds, a hands-on project like making scarecrows, as we did with the first graders at JV Forrestal, a cooking demonstration where kids cook with the food they just harvested from the fields. We had a group that came and collected eggs from our chickens and kale, and then they made a kale and egg scramble, and they all ate it, middle school students. As much as possible, Common Ground Farm will provide the monthly vegetable for the Chef in the Classroom program and for the district-wide taste tests. We were able to do that with the kale month, September, and for the future, we're in the planning stages for the 2014 growing season. We'll be planning into our field as much as possible the vegetables that we'll need to be able to sustain this program. We grow vegetables on a small scale, and we do not use chemicals. We are as local as you can get, just a mile or two up the road on 90. We have a variety of different educational programs. We do keep chickens, and the chickens actually move around and help fertilize the soil and are part of the integrated program of the farm. We also have a children's garden where children are able to dig in the dirt, help water, learn how to garden, and it's definitely a part of our programming. We use it for a lot of our programming as well. Now Ava Bynum from Hudson Valley Seed will talk about the garden program.
Hudson Valley Seed is a Beacon-based nonprofit working to educate young people and their families in health and nutrition by establishing educational gardens in public schools. Hudson Valley Seed works both with the Beacon Farm to School Collaborative, bringing students out to the garden once a month from JV Forrestal, and Hudson Valley Seed also works independently, running weekly garden education programs in Sargent, JV Forrestal, and South Avenue. The gardening component of farm to school education is critical because it brings food production down to a level that students can grasp and engage with. When students have experienced planting, tending, and harvesting a vegetable, they are that much more likely to try that new food. Hudson Valley Seed's role in the Beacon Farm to School Collaborative is to bring each class out to the garden to do an activity around the featured vegetable. In September, for instance, when the featured vegetable was kale, students went out to the garden and actually planted kale seedlings. Apart from the United Way funded collaborative program, Hudson Valley Seed secures private funding to run weekly garden lessons in 3 of Beacon's schools, with Glenham to begin this spring. Hudson Valley Seed's unique garden model is what makes it successful and sustainable. Hudson Valley Seed runs gardens that run all year long and actually produce food through winter, which is a very unique model to have in the Northeast. This means that teachers can integrate nature-based curriculum for all 4 seasons into their indoors and outdoor classrooms. Through use of row cover, low tunnels, and cold-tolerant crops, students can enjoy hands-on learning for the entire academic calendar. During summer months, food from the gardens actually goes to the summer feeding program, which you'll hear about later. With testing, teacher time, and core curriculum requirements of extremely high importance, it is imperative that school gardens work to help students achieve high academic excellence. Every weekly garden lesson is integrated with New York State's Common Core, so that students fulfill math, science, and ELA requirements through hands-on outdoor learning. With planting schedules that fit within the entire Hudson Valley growing season, and curriculum that's integrated with New York State's Common Core, Hudson Valley Seed's model is readily scalable to other school districts. Beacon is leading the way with this exciting program, and a second school district is actually starting this spring. It has been repeatedly shown that garden education has a plethora of impacts on participating students. First and foremost, it has been found that learning a subject hands-on in a school garden significantly increases a student's retention of that knowledge for and following a test. School gardens also have been shown to have huge social implications and behavioral changes in students. I wanted to share with you a quote that I received by email from a teacher after a garlic planting lesson. And the core curriculum subject that we had studied that day was part whole, understanding how many garlic cloves come together to form a single head of garlic. And after that lesson, students actually made garlic salad dressing and ate it over spinach. And she wrote, "After you left, the student shared incomplete sentences, a speaking skill that some are working on, what he or she did during the centers. Students talked about tasting the garlic, planting it in the dirt, and mixing the ingredients. We wrote up the list of ingredients and read it together. I envisioned each student going home to tell their loved ones all about their experiences. I enjoyed seeing them in a different light as I was able to observe and assess their background knowledge." And that was just one of many positive responses that we've had from teachers. Currently, 6 classes participate in Hudson Valley Seed's weekly program, and there are 9 classes who are on the waiting list. Just as we hope to grow the Beacon Farm to School Collaborative to additional schools in coming years, so Hudson Valley Seed is also working to be able to increase weekly programming to meet the demand from teachers, parents, and students. And Sandy McKelvey will now talk about the cafeteria taste test and the Chef in the Classroom program.
So if you're following along, are you still with us? We're at the Chef in the Classroom slide. Okay. If you want to change kids' attitudes and behavior towards trying new foods and making healthier choices, you must involve them in the decision-making. Cooking classes are a fun, hands-on way to get kids excited about eating fresh vegetables. Once a month, our chefs come into a classroom. They set up a mobile kitchen with equipment, supplies, and ingredients, and teach a hands-on cooking class featuring a locally grown vegetable. This is not a cooking demo. All the kids participate in a team effort guided by the chef to make the special vegetable dish. Kids learn knife skills. These first graders are learning the proper way to hold a knife and protecting their fingers by curling them like a C. C is, actually we say make a claw. C is for claw, and that's how you protect your hands when you're holding a knife, the other hand when you're holding a knife. We have kids as young as kindergartners that we give child-safe knives to, and they are learning knife skills that some adults don't even have. During the class, the chefs talk about the nutritional value of the vegetables. They talk about the importance of eating food that is in season and grown locally, and the difference between organic and conventionally grown vegetables. As much as possible, the vegetables used in the cooking classes come from either Common Ground Farm or from the school garden. Everyone has a task, and they're all fully engaged. These are fifth graders, and they are making a recipe with the featured vegetable. This is December, and that was butternut squash. And the featured dish, the dish that they made was a butternut squash mac and cheese. The kids were so excited making this, and as a matter of fact, almost all the kids had said they had never tried mac and cheese that had not been made from a box. And so they made this mac and cheese with the butternut squash. Just about everyone tried it, and it was a huge thumbs up. The best part of the cooking class is after they make their culinary creations, they all get to try it. With a few exceptions, almost every child tries a dish they make in the classroom. Studies show that kids that actively engage in cooking are more likely to try new foods. Instead of being told what to eat, kids are in charge, and they take ownership and pride in creating the dishes themselves. These pictures here are pictures of Mrs. Waggy's fourth grade class, and they made the Tuscan kale soup in September, and that kale came from Common Ground Farm. Each month, the kids are surveyed before and after their farm-to-school activities to determine whether there is a positive behavior change. Results from the data that is collected each month will be analyzed by the Dutchess County Department of Health and published at the end of the school year. If you take a look at this pre-survey, you will see that this child knew what the vegetable was, but had never tried it and didn't like it. So he thought. After the class, that same child had a complete turnaround. He tried it, he liked it, he'll eat it again, he'll eat it in the cafeteria, and he'll eat it at home. At the end of each month, the dish that was created in the classroom is made in all the cafeteria, in all 4 elementary schools and the middle school cafeterias. The class that made the dish creates posters and hangs them in the hallways promoting the taste test in the cafeteria. These posters that you see in this slide are for the month of October, and the vegetable of the month was corn. They made a traditional corn succotash, and I really want to thank Karen Pagano for making this happen, because she was the one that had to go out in her car out to Garrison to a farm to pick up 300 ears of corn, load it in the back of her car, bring it back to Beacon, and have it go to all the different schools to have it husked and cooked and ready for making the dish the following week. Taste tests. The taste tests get kids involved. It gives them the opportunity to directly participate in deciding what is offered in the cafeteria school lunch. They're also a great way for food service to try out new recipes with a minimal investment. At the same time, they create excitement in the lunchroom and increase participation. To encourage the kids to sample the special vegetable, parent volunteers give out colorful stickers that say, "I tried something new." And if you know kids, they will do anything to get a cute sticker. And these stickers are also a great way to spark conversation at home and engage the family in the farm-to-school program. Surveys are conducted at Forrestal using paper ballots with the grade and class on them. Students who try the dish put their ballot in the can that corresponds to their reaction to it. We are tracking all the kids that try the dish by class to determine whether the kids that made the dish are the ones more likely to try and like it in the cafeteria. We are using the other 3 elementary schools as controls in our study. They vote by placing a bean in the can that best describes their reaction to the sample dish. This picture shows kids at Glenham Elementary School also trying the succotash in October. When we created the surveys for the taste test, we were looking to see if we could find a correlation between the farm-to-school activities and behavior change towards trying new foods and eating the sample vegetable dishes in the cafeteria. And here are some of our results. In JB Forrestal, where we have our full farm-to-school program, every month, more kids are trying and liking the dish in the cafeteria than in the other 3 schools. The first comparison on the slide is in October. That was the corn dish, and that was comparing Forrestal with Sargent. And the second one we're showing in December, the butternut squash dish, Forrestal and Glenham. But we have every month, we're showing it's the same, and every time, Forrestal is way, way above in the amount of kids that are liking and trying. I want to end with a few words from the students at Glenham. CT, the food service manager at Glenham, has been really excited about the monthly taste tests and does an amazing job encouraging the kids to try the sample veggie dishes. Word got out about our farm-to-school program at Forrestal, and suddenly she got flooded with letters from students begging her to bring the program to their school. Here are just a few, and I'll just highlight a few things that the kids said. Dear Miss CT, I would love to have a classroom chef in my classroom because it would be cool to try new things and learn more about fruits and vegetables. I love to cook with my dad. And another one. Dear CT, I think it would be great to have the Chef in the Classroom program. It would be fun to learn about food. I would love to cut, smell, and taste the foods. I hope you decide to do the program. Dear CT, Chef in the Classroom is a great idea. Here are some reasons why. 1, we get to try new foods. 2, eat healthier foods. 3, learn how to make new foods from local farms. Dear CT, first I want to say thank you for doing this. Also, I think that the Chef in the Classroom program is a very good idea. It's a good idea because it will teach us more about food and get us to eat healthy. Also, the soup was very good, and I liked it. And once again, thank you so, so much for doing this. If you want to keep up with what's happening at Forrestal, we send out monthly newsletters, and the recipes are included. They are up on the Beacon Schools website if you'd like to see them all since September. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, ladies. Another project that I've been approached to bring to Beacon City Schools is the backpack program. Steve Sverret is the Special Projects Coordinator at the Food Bank of Hudson Valley. Steve, if you want to raise your hand. Steve is currently managing 11 backpack programs throughout the Hudson Valley and also manages the volunteer groups that work with the donated food programs. We've selected to pilot this program in South Avenue School. Steve is in charge of a grant-based program that provides up to 30 backpacks with non-perishable food for select children to take home on Friday afternoons. In conjunction with the Food Bank of the Hudson Valley grant, Jackie Bouslat Mills, you probably all know Jackie, Jackie Bouslat Mills from the Kids Are Kids feeding program has raised additional funding on her own to increase this capacity for an additional 60 to 70 children. Jackie has been the organizer of the Summer Meals program in Beacon for the last 3 summers. Beacon City School District Food Service Department has prepared these meals for the last 2 years. Kids Are Kids program will pick up the food for the backpacks from the food bank in New Windsor. Kids Are Kids will also purchase additional backpacks and food for these additional children, as well as organize the volunteers for packing the backpacks. Some of these volunteers will be students from Beacon High School Honor Society. It is Jackie's mission to serve the children of the Beacon City School District until all are fed. Steve has a brief explanation of the program. There's also a 4-slide presentation on the board docs about the Hudson Valley Food Bank and the backpack program. So, Steve?
I know some will have to share. Hi, everyone. Thanks for letting me be here. I'm Steve, as she said. I'm the project coordinator at Food Bank of the Hudson Valley. I guess a little background on the program. The Food Bank at the beginning of this year received a grant for $200,000 from Stop and Shop's Our Family Foundation. And that was to provide money for 5 schools to start backpack programs. Since then, we received additional funding from C&S Wholesale Grocers as well as Walmart to increase that number of schools. Essentially, what the backpack program is it aims to eliminate the gap that many need children experience between eating lunch on Friday and either breakfast or lunch on Monday at school. Many of these children, when they go home on the weekends, they don't have food or they don't have parents or guardians at home to help them prepare it. So what we aim to do is we get a backpack packed full of food, stuff that's non-perishable, child-friendly sort of stuff, and that gets sent home with them over the weekend. Over the weekend, they'll receive breakfast and dinner from this bag, and then they bring it back on Monday, and this way they're fed throughout the weekend. Currently, we have it at 11 schools in 7 different districts. The program's been going very well everywhere that it is. It's been getting a lot of acclaim, and we've actually recently received a lot of press coverage for. We've been in the Poughkeepsie Journal and the Hudson Valley Reporter, Times Herald Record, a couple different places. They're starting to pick up on it. And we're looking to bring it to Beacon. We're going to start at South because that seemed to be the best place to do it as far as the number of children that were in need that would be able to use this sort of program. I know that right now, preliminary phone calls out to parents, we have about 18 students, and that number is going to grow. A lot of times the schools, they start a little lower, and as people become more familiar with the program, you have a lot of parents asking, well, how does my kid get on that? And so the number continues to grow. As Karen was saying, the food bank, for those of you unfamiliar with that, we're sort of a giant warehouse, except instead of selling food, we give it away. And Jackie, who works with the summer feeding programs, will be coming to pick the food up, transport it to South, and then when it's there, it'll be stored in the cafeteria. The bags will get packed by student volunteers. We're looking at National Honor Society and Key Club, those sort of things. And then we're going to work on a way for the students to come pick it up and bring it home. It's entirely anonymous. We realize that something like that can be sensitive. You don't want children getting made fun of or anything like that for receiving bags. But in my other schools, we haven't experienced anything like that. We try to be careful. We get the same backpacks for everyone. They're black. There's not really any distinguishing characteristics about them. So, we're hoping to get it off the ground sometime in February. We've already spoken to the superintendent and the principal at South Avenue about it. Everyone seems to have had a lot of positive remarks about it. And I guess if you guys have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
I don't have any questions, but if somebody wants to jump in after this, I really do want to take the time to make sure to thank Karen and Jackie and all of you for the work that you've done on both of these programs. We're really excited about being able to start up the backpack program. We think it's a great opportunity for the district. But I think it's great that you brought it to us, and we're happy to participate.
Yeah, thank you. We're happy to start it here.
Does anyone have any questions for any of the presenters? Thank you so much for you all coming out tonight and for working with our children. Jackie, were you going to present as well?
Actually, I was here mostly just to answer any questions that you might have as to how we were going to look to feed more than the 30 grant-covered participants. I do want to say how terribly exciting it has been to see the enthusiasm of the staff at South Avenue School. From the principal to the social worker to the cafeteria staff, they are all on board. And I was just commenting to someone, I would not be surprised if I have to show up the first week or two, and then they're going to do it all. And I can't commend the staff enough, or Karen, who has added so much to the summer meals program this past year, and also being so on board with initiating a backpack program in Beacon. And it would be our intent to have the pilot program be at South Avenue, and then to perhaps move on to either Forestville or Sargent.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Jackie, could you give us an idea about how many children you serve through your summer meal program, maybe on a daily or weekly basis?
Yes. Generally speaking, well, we have 6 open sites spread throughout the city, because it is our feeling that any child who is hungry should have the ability to walk safely to get a lunch. So we do have some clusters on either end of the city, and at these open sites we serve approximately 125 to 130 children per day, which initially sounds like a fairly decent number, but I'm going to tell you it's nowhere near what we should be serving. When you look at just having shy of 50% of your entire student enrollment signed up for free and reduced price meals, to say we're serving 125 is just not sufficient as far as we are concerned. So we all are working diligently, the school district, to get the word out to more kids. We added daily program activities last year, hoping if we gave them something exciting to do, that they would keep coming back. We also understand that it takes a while to build up a level of trust in each of these communities, and I'm very fortunate to be able to say that for the last 2 years, I have had the same site supervisors at each of these sites, and almost all of the volunteers have been the same at each site. The people who get involved with the program are as passionate as I about feeding hungry children in Beacon. And I think it's also important for you all to know that the Summer Meals program works with these three ladies, because on our Wellness Wonder Wednesdays in Summer Meals, I partner with Common Ground Farm and Sember and Helena Brotman with Green Teams to provide nutrition education and a chef. So we have a chef that comes and does the Summer Meals program as well. And last year we were fortunate to have two. I have one that stays with me pretty much at Davies, where I actually serve a summer meal, and then the other travel from site to site. And our experience supports just what Sandy has said, that when these children have the opportunity to work with the chef, prepare the nutritious snack, they are very excited about trying it. And I'm here to tell you that all of my 30-odd children at Davies South Terrace eat ratatouille. And who would have ever thought that? So I think, as those of you who know me well, I really believe in the importance of collaboration and partnering, because it's only through those efforts that we're going to be able to reach out and meet the needs of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for presenting your wonderful programs.
Yes. Mr. Romanino was here to share some information on an upcoming field trip overnight.
Good evening. I'm not sure it's a field trip or an
I
overnight
tried to
sports trip. But anyway, the baseball team is planning a trip to Cooperstown to play a baseball game. We would leave on a Friday, come home on a late Saturday afternoon. On Friday, it's a vacation week, so there's no school missed. They'd go up, get up there around noon, and they would visit the Hall of Fame, and then the next day they would be playing a baseball game against Waverly High School from Section 4, the Binghamton area, a very good baseball team, and then come home. This is at no cost to the district. The baseball team, as you well know, they raise money almost all yearly, all year round to buy equipment and do things of this nature. They'll be driving up by school bus. We actually got one of our former athletes to drive the bus and do it for nothing for us. So hopefully we can work that through the business office. And there'll be plenty of chaperones as per board policy. Some of them haven't been appointed as volunteers yet. Haven't got to that point in the school year to appoint them. And I think it's just a good experience for the kids. We have done these types of trips before. A few years ago, the wrestling team went to Virginia, overnight trip, and went to Lake Placid. The baseball team, when I was coaching with Mr. Atwell, we went to Cooperstown. Unfortunately, we went up there on a Friday and got rained out on a Saturday, but it was still a good experience to go to the Hall of Fame. And the baseball team has gone to Florida several times to play over spring break. Just a good opportunity. And again, we're hoping that you can approve this trip. Any questions?
So just for clarification, what you're saying is what we did for the last one. The plan was to have Mr. Romanino come and share information, and it would be on the next agenda for board approval. So if there's any questions you have.
It's actually not a question, just to ask, would you, because you kind of skipped over it when you were mentioning, would you please really elaborate on where the team is playing Waverly?
They're playing at Doubleday Field in Cooperstown, the home of baseball.
I think that's really important. I think that's an incredible thing for an amazing experience for our kids.
Yes, it is. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have a motion to adjourn to executive?
Motion to adjourn to executive session to review the employment history of a particular individual. The board will return as soon as possible.